5 years and still talking. This is GABNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
From the city so nice they had to name it twice. New York, New York. It's the Ramble, and I'm Alex Bennett. We go till midnight tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, there she is, an ex-wife. Her name is Ronnie Bennett, and she runs a blog called timegoesby.net, which you should go to right now. Don't even listen to it. Just go to that site. Right? Hello, Ronnie. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? It's morning where I am still.
Yeah. It is morning where you are, which is in Lake Oswego, which is near Portland.
Oregon.
Not
to be confused with Portland, Maine, or other Portlands.
Which was the other place you lived. I mean, it's like...
Yes, I did.
And
I moved from Portland to Portland.
You were born in Portland, wound up in Portland, Maine, then went to Portland, Oregon. Are there any other Portlands you haven't gone to yet?
I haven't ever visited. If I remember correctly, there are 6 or 7 or 8 Portlands in the United States, but those are the only 2 I've ever been to.
Yeah, right, exactly. So, how's everything going with you?
It's going just fine.
How about your health and everything like that?
I had to talk with the doctor last week.
Oh yes, you were going to go talk to the doctor. How did that turn out?
Ambiguous.
Ambiguous. Just what? They're surprised you're still alive, or what?
I think so. I mean, which is kind of a surprise to me. As we've said, I'm on golden time, but it was discussion of when to do the next CT scan.
Yeah.
And that's the one that they can tell what's been going on with the cancer.
Yeah.
And I've been kind of enjoying my free time for 3 months. So I decided to put it off for a month just so I could have free time from having to think about that.
Yeah.
And we discussed that if it's growing rapidly, what can and can't be done.
Yeah.
And you know what? The whole purpose of putting it off was not to think about it, so...
So, in other words, you got no definitive answers on any of this,
Well, they can't look at your face and tell,
Yeah, they should be able to. You should be looking gaunt and on your last leg, and you aren't.
Well, I keep saying if I didn't know I had cancer, I wouldn't know I have cancer.
Although, I got to tell you, I mean, this doesn't even apply to you, but I had a friend a few years back, Steve Gruber, who died of lung cancer. And the night before he died, you would have never thought he'd be dead the next day. I mean, he was all piss and vinegar, and he wanted to get out of the hospital, and he didn't want to be there. And, and you're going, and then I get a call, he's dead. And I go to the hospital, there he is, lying in bed, dead, and I'm going, how did that happen? I was talking to him yesterday. So, I
think that for the people the ones not doing the dying at the moment, yeah, you're right. That's really hard. I mean, what's the dividing line? What changed? He just didn't take a next breath. And, both of my parents, I took care of my mother for several months before she died, and visited with my dad, and they looked sick at the end. And I look at, when you're a younger woman, you look at your face and you look in the mirror and you put on your makeup and you wonder if you're pretty enough to go out in the world. I look now and I look in the mirror and I think, do I look like I'm sick? Am I getting sicker? Does it show in my face? It's a different question.
Well, I mean, even your breathing problem has seemed to have gotten better. You don't.
Well, that's I can only sing the praises of the rehab nurses.
Yeah.
They taught me how to do that, and taught me that you have to exercise because otherwise the lungs are just going to collapse down. So, I did. They're the best. I didn't have a whole lot of faith that that could do me any good, and it did miracles. It really made a difference.
Well, I mean, so here you are. You're getting better every day.
But like your friend, we don't know about tomorrow morning.
Well, I mean, on the other hand, I had a friend die recently, Jack Garfine, and he didn't look too good the day before. Okay.
Wasn't he a whole lot older than your other friend?
Who? Jack Garfine?
Yeah.
Garfine was 89.
I don't know. I don't consider. I have two friends who are both 94, so I don't consider that maybe so old anymore.
Well, you know what's interesting, and you do things about age. Jack has a friend, oddly enough, named Jack, and both of them were survivors of the concentration camps. Okay, that's how they became friends in the concentration camp. You looked at Jack, my Jack, and he was really falling apart. He looked old, he looked tired, he looked sick, whatever. You look at the other Jack, who's approximately the same age, went through the same life experience, and he looks like he's 75.
Well, that goes back to what I've been saying all this time I've been writing this damn blog, is that we age individually at entirely different rates. Your age doesn't have a whole lot to do with that. One of the funny things about what we look at what age is the older I get, the younger young people look. So I look at some of particularly the women, but some of the guys too, young people on TV news like MSNBC and CNN, that are the ones that are out in the field following all the candidates around.
Yeah.
And I think those people aren't out of high school yet. They're so young looking.
Right.
And the older I get, the more that happens. And it just... They just don't look grown up enough to be doing that job.
I used to refer to it as the teenage news. Because these newscasters were getting younger and younger and younger.
And it's not them, it's us. It's our perception.
We're growing older and older and older.
And they keep looking younger and younger and younger.
But there was a time when even when I was younger, in my 40s and 50s, when I got stopped by a 22-year-old cop for a ticket, and he gave me a lecture, I felt, well, screw you. I mean, how dare you give me a lecture? You punk. All right. But now I'm going, how dare you tell me the news?
And the thing is, if you go check Wikipedia on any of those people, they're like 28, 30, 34. I mean, they're grown-ups. They've been doing their job for a number of years.
Yeah.
They've got experience.
Yeah.
But they look like they're still in high school.
Yeah.
To me. I don't think they do to people their own age.
So I started watching, I think it was CNN in the mornings, and I just said, it looks like it's the teenage news. It just, and I was in my 60s, maybe late 60s when I said that, so, whatever. So, but, I mean, these young punks, what the hell? But they can also, I don't know if at my age I would want to slog around in the wintry snows of New Hampshire,
It's not that, it's being on the road forever. The primary season is so bloody long, and shouldn't be, that you hardly ever get to go home. And you're always running for a bus or an airplane, or where's the hotel? What did I leave in the hotel? I mean, I never had to travel at that rate of constant on the move and be producing something in between. And I don't think, I just think that's so exhausting. You got to be young to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, the guy, this guy is on NBC and does the all the reporting from war zones.
Oh, Engel, Richard Engel. He's a wonderful reporter.
Yeah, he's a wonderful reporter. Although we're sitting around waiting for the day we hear he got killed. I mean, he goes into these just
Who does that?
No,
you don't.
No.
I've never had that thought in my life.
Well, he's in such dangerous situations. And you go, how is he going to
Yes.
survive this? I mean, we had one newscaster, who was it, over at ABC, who got really shot up really badly, or roadside bomb or whatever, and pretty much is out of the broadcast business now. Remember?
No.
He was the anchor of these ABC Evening News, and he got blown up by a roadside bomb.
The last time I saw the evening news of any network must have been 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I've never tuned it in since.
Yeah, but
But I mean, by the time they do it, the news is over and on to something else.
but
So
I'm
there's
sorry,
nothing-
I'm a news reporter. Send me to New Hampshire. Don't send me to Syria. Okay,
Well- reporters have been going to war for as long as there have been wars.
You know something? There are people like Richard Engel who I think there's a certain love for it. A certain love of the danger, and also of getting the story in spite of all things. You know what I'm saying?
No, I mean yes, but that's
Yeah.
the thing is that I'm sorry, I'm trying to figure out why you're kind of surprised. It's always been that way, at least to World War One, and probably in the Civil War, and who knows before the
Well,
during
in those
the
cases, we were
Revolutionary
talking
War.
about world wars, which were so predominant that they were almost at our shores. I mean, you had reporters during World War II. Kids, you're not going to remember this at all. Ernie Pyle, as an example, who was a war correspondent, very famous for it, and being in the midst of it all, and writing about the GIs in very poetic terms. But these things, you really just you go, wow, how that Richard Engel survives all these things. I mean, there are bombs going off all around
I'm so
him.
surprised you're surprised. If I were a young woman, and now that women can do those things, because they didn't used to be, back in those days when we were young, women weren't allowed. They weren't hired for jobs like that. But now there are plenty of women reporting from war zones. And if I were young and a reporter, I would want to be there in today's world. I would want to be in the Middle East.
Okay, that and that all well and good, but also there's another aspect to Richard Engel. He's married, and I think he has a newly born a new child. He may have a second one there. I don't know. But when you suddenly have a family, do you want to put yourself in this kind of danger? And
I think that you're falling victim to the, oh my God, we must be safe. Can we get out of bed, check the floor?
Let's put it in a more something may hit home better. Let's say you were married to Richard Engel. Okay, how would
That
you?
doesn't mean I wouldn't worry, but it wouldn't. If that's what he does, more power to him. He's doing a terrific job. I depend on
listen.
Engel
I
and
think
things that are going on.
I think he's one of the few good reporters we have right now.
Well, let's not go there. That's just too boring.
Yeah. Yes, it's too boring.
I mean, I don't know. Everybody's a critic.
Yeah.
You've never done that kind of work. You don't know.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I've gone to the snows of New Hampshire and the snows of Iowa during an election year, and it's
Syria.
It's fascinating, but I don't have to do it every week, And these guys are out there day in, day out, and there are the other reporters who aren't even reporting the election. They're reporting. There's one guy over at NBC who's always somewhere. I mean, he's reporting something in Tibet. The next day he's reporting something in Omaha, and I'm going, these guys don't get off an airplane.
That's what they do.
That's what they do. But how long can you do that? Could you do that at 50? Could you do that at 60?
Yes.
Could you do it at 70? I couldn't do it at my age. At my age, you can barely get me out of the damn house.
But nobody asks you to, or anyone else.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I missed the point. I don't understand the point.
Yeah. So I mean, you said you had a couple of things you wanted to talk about.
I want to ask you about something.
Okay.
I wrote a blog post yesterday on something that just really annoys me and has annoyed me for years, is the phrase successful aging. And my first response, It's been around for 15 or 20 years, and in the last few years been gaining momentum. I went to Amazon to see how many books were titled Successful Aging, and I stopped counting at 24. There were more, but I just got bored with counting.
Yeah.
And my first response is always as opposed to what? I mean, unsuccessful aging, and what could that possibly be?
What is successful aging?
These books,
yeah.
What they're mostly telling you is to eat your vegetables and get your exercise and do all the things they tell us old people to do. And I can get that information from many, probably hundreds of reliable sources. There's more than that, enough of that information. So they're saying to successfully age, you have to see your doctor, eat good food, walk around a little bit, all the stuff they tell us. And I don't get it. It makes no sense to me.
I think some people age and they have all kinds. I don't think that if you go by some of these people who say, well, eat your vegetables and work out 3 times a week and do a brisk walk once a day or something like that, that's going to keep you from getting anything.
No. That's not the question. We're not talking about getting sick. We're talking about successful aging. And what in the world does anybody think it means?
Well, let me give you an example of something similar that always used to tick me off, and that was when people on television would say, "And how old are you?" and the person would go, "I'm 85," and the whole audience would applaud.
Well,
what do they have to do to get that 85?
I'm going to stick to successful aging because you're not doing this right.
Oh, okay. That's the producer in her, by the way. That's the producer.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
That's the producer in you. That's not what we're talking about. We have to get back to the subject matter.
All right, but I'm not allowed to talk in your ear. Let me talk in your ear. It's ubiquitous in the community of aging, successful aging. Well, what could that mean? If you're sick, well, I'm sick. Am I am I failing aging? Or what if you're homeless? All of these books, all these articles tell you to do all these things to be successful at aging. But they're all about, if you're talking about being sick being sick, you have almost no control over. But if it's like homeless or something, the time to fix that was many years ago. There's not much you can do if you're old and homeless. And I'm not so sure it's always your fault.
Yeah.
And so the idea of successful aging presupposes there's something unsuccessful aging or failed aging, which I don't think is possible.
Well, what you're talking about too is I think it's a term that's a marketable term. Oh, here's a book on successful aging.
That doesn't excuse it.
No, it doesn't excuse it. But I'm saying
that it becomes a catchphrase, and it's meaningless, and it tells people that you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's anything you can do wrong to age unsuccessfully.
Yeah. Isn't it just the luck of the draw?
No. Now, when you say that, then you're thinking that sick people just got the bad end of the straw. I'm not talking. I don't think being sick makes you a failure at aging.
Okay, but I mean, what we're doing is what you want to do is you want to define successful aging, and maybe there shouldn't be any such term.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, there just shouldn't be any such term.
It just keeps ballooning everywhere I turn. There are online articles, magazine articles, newspapers, and more books. A new one just came out
Well,
called
you know
Successful
why you
Aging.
see those books and why you see those articles is because we're probably getting an older population that's larger, and so it's a marketable, at least in books and in writings and things like that. It's a very marketable term. Because most people go, oh my God, I'm aging. I'm 80 years old. What do I do? Oh, here's a book on successful
Do you
aging. I'll
think
read
most
that.
people do that?
Oh yeah, I think people, you know, they are number one. Most people are deadly afraid of getting older, and they begin to see that things that once used to go up are going down. All right, and it can start to panic you after a while. Once I reached 80, I suddenly realized that all the aches and pains I have, and I go, why do I have this? Is because I'm 80 years old.
Right.
And thank God for that, because how many people do I know didn't make it to 80? You know, every week you hear about it too. You hear about people you know who died. All right, so you have to take it on that. And I just go, what's successful aging? I guess that's you can keep breathing. You know, I mean, but it takes no talent, it takes no ability, and there's no book that can
But that
tell you
isn't
how to
even
do
my
it.
question. I don't. It's that I don't know where it originated. I've seen it growing, used more, meaning used more frequently
Yeah.
over the last 15 years or so, and it is so empty, and it is. But what it also does is, if you're not inclined to think it through like I am, because I have to try to make sense of it on writing, so
Yeah.
I have put a different kind of thought to it than when I'm just skimming a story. It implies quite strongly that you're doing something wrong
Yeah,
about getting
yeah,
old.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So anyway, so
And then their solution is eat your vegetables.
that's right, right. Successful. How about
As
unsuccessful?
if it were about health, and
Yeah.
that doesn't seem to be the point either. And I don't know that there's anything you can do wrong about aging.
Well, there's nothing you're going to do that's going to also stop the effects of it. Sometimes you don't like my wife. Okay, she works out if she can 3 times a week for about 3 hours a day. I mean, she does an hour on the bike, she does speed cycling, all of that, right? She is an absolute adrenaline junkie, all right? She's got more things wrong with her than I've got wrong
You
with
can't
me.
connect them. You can't say they're wrong because she rides a bicycle for an hour.
No, I'm not saying that's causes it. I'm saying
Well, you kind of
that
shoved them
no. What
together
I'm
there.
saying is that didn't help it. Okay.
You don't know that.
All right. So, okay, we've established that Ronnie hates the term successful aging. I guess that's what we've determined.
I'm sorry. Say what again? I
That
didn't.
Ronnie does not like the term successful aging.
Well,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
but
okay.
I think it's so crazy that it just keeps growing. And even if I take it as being a marketing phrase that just marketers made something up that sounded good and doesn't have any meaning, which is true of a lot of marketing phrases.
Yeah.
Even if I take that as part of it, or a strong part of it, why would you put a marketing phrase out there that makes people feel bad about themselves?
Let me
The whole
ask-
point of
okay.
selling stuff is to make people feel good about themselves.
Let me ask you this. If tomorrow we decided that Ronnie Bennett was going to start a podcast, okay?
Oh, no, she's not.
No, but she was going to start a podcast, and it was simply called Successful Aging.
Not me.
Wait a minute.
Can't get me on that show.
Oh, wait a minute. This is a suppose. Now go along with me on my suppose. Suppose you did all those things. Do you think you get more people listening to you than read your blog? I think you would.
Maybe.
I
I
think
don't
you
know,
would.
but I can't do that because I don't know. I can't talk about it. There's nothing to say. It's empty.
I
There's
know.
a whole box. You label it successful aging and you open up the box and there's nothing in it.
Yeah, but you're not into marketing yourself and making money off that marketing. You get what I'm saying? You're an ethical person. You don't need phrases like successful aging to try and tell people. You just timegoesby.net. It says everything about it. But it's not going to attract somebody who's sitting there going, Boy, I'm having more aches and pains lately, and I hate this getting old. Oh, wait a minute. Here's a site called Successful Aging.
No, but that's really interesting. So you go immediately from I hurt, I'm sick, to successful aging will help me.
Yeah.
How?
I don't know, but I'm saying that if they're saying this term a lot, it's got to be a marketable term, okay?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know who's labeling the magazine articles or who's writing the
but
headlines.
you get what I'm saying. I mean, it's a marketing thing. It's absolutely a marketing thing.
Well, it's just stupid.
Yeah.
And since I've got so much invested in aging in general after all these years.
And you paid the price for it, too. You've gotten all the life experience you want to know about aging, you know? And you're not...
Repeat that. I think I was.
You've gotten all the information you need about aging from just your life experience right now, with getting sick and this and that and the breathing and so on, you've aged successfully. You realize that?
I may what?
You've aged successfully.
Well, I don't even know what that means. I've just aged.
Okay.
My favorite was a reader who left this comment. Her name was Susan. She used just an R for her last name, just an initial. She said, as long as you're above ground and breathing, you're aging successfully.
Well, that's
and I think that's all it needs to be.
Yeah.
You know, there's no penalty or there's no way to fail aging.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, and that's what I dislike about, I wasn't real clear in what I wrote yesterday. It's what I object to so strongly, is that you put the idea, by using that phrase, you put the idea in people's head that maybe they're unsuccessful at it.
Well, what you're doing is you're saying by successful aging, you're implying that there is a alternative, which is unsuccessful aging. But you're not saying that. But I know what's pissing you off. You know, a lot of things piss you off, but I know I know that one.
Not so much in my old age.
I know what it's all about, and you have every right to be irritated by it, and I agree with you. You know.
I just would like it, please, to disappear.
I just, you know, as I say, I go back to those times that they have somebody and they go, "How old are you?" And they go, "I'm 85," and everybody applauds, and I go, you know, I don't know that deserves applause. I mean,
let me tell you something else.
You know, you just had.
I agree with you too. Yeah. I don't think it's as important as successful aging problem. I'm kidding you about that, but. The other one that bothers me, have you noticed President Trump does it, but long before he came along, all kinds of people who stand on stages do whatever they do on stages. It happens to them. They say something, and the audience applauds, and they applaud. Well, what are they applauding?
I hate people. Now you've talked about something which gripes me, and that's people who, when they get up on stage and people applaud them, also applaud.
That's what I just said.
Yeah, that just absolutely drives me nuts. Why? They're applauding you, and you're applauding yourself? It makes no sense.
I know, and that's new. It wasn't always that way in my life.
And also, as a producer, a person who produced TV shows, it had to drive you crazy when people did that because they were also doing it on their mic that was on their chest.
Nobody ever did that when I was producing television shows. Not one single. In those days, nobody did that.
Were you a successful producer?
Well, no, it's not about that. Is that something in the culture changed that we applaud ourselves? Do you think it's connected to selfies? It's the same idea?
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe that's where it comes from.
Maybe that's where it comes from, but it also is that people just applaud for the weirdest, strangest things. You're 85, so they applaud. Actually, they should say, "Boy, are you lucky."
You know, when I lived in New York, 40-odd years worth,
yeah.
Every Broadway show I ever went to, every single one, no matter how awful it was, they got a standing ovation at the end.
Do you know something? You're absolutely...
And I decided then that the reason was is that everybody wanted to go home and tell their friends that the show was so good they got a standing ovation.
Oh, when you're paying $150 for the seat, you're going to believe anything about that show. You know,
I think that's low these
you
days.
don't want to have buyer's remorse. You know, that's why I hate reviewers of like Broadway shows and movies, because they get in for free. And they don't have to pay the $150 to see that Broadway show. If they did, they might be a little more critical of it. You know?
Well, but all those people who did pay that much stood up and at the end.
Yeah. But anyway, you're absolutely right. They all stand up and applaud. I'm wondering if they're applauding just the fact that people got up and performed a show.
The fact that they walked and memorized their lines.
Well, that they got up and they performed a show. You know, the show may have been a bad show, but they gave it their best, and so they want to, give them that.
Well, applauding used to be perfectly good, but now everyone they stand up forever and ever and applaud.
Oh boy. Well, hey, listen, we've
This is what it means when you get old. You start realizing that all of these. I should have called myself crabby old lady today.
All these things.
You keep finding these things that drive you crazy when you get old. Apparently, we have too much time on our hands.
Well,
I think.
Yeah. Well, we could go into all the health stuff and all that and the things within that whole society that kind of get to you, but we'll do that another time. Thank you so much. I love these little discussions we have with each other and talking with the crabby old lady.
Yes,
ladies and gentlemen,
she's a crabby old lady.
That's Ronnie Bennett, no relation any longer, which she is thankful for. And she can be found at timegoesby.net.
Can I say one thing about that?
Sure.
What you just said?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that you're the only person alive who's known me this long?
Well, then I guess I have a...
And that somehow means something to me.
Yeah. Well, actually, let me think about it. Hold on a second. Yes, I think you are too, to me.
You mean for you too?
Yeah, yeah.
I met you when I was 17.
And I met you when I was about, 19, 20, something like that.
18, 19, 20, somewhere in there.
Yeah, well, one year. Anyway, I can't think of anybody else because the people I did know all have died. Like I had a friend, Roy Trumbull, in high school.
Mm-hmm.
He died. That would be maybe the oldest guy if he were still alive.
What about John? I don't remember his last name, who lived in Boston.
Bayless?
John Bayless, I think so.
I don't know if he's still alive or not, but it's like, if he is alive, I haven't talked to him since high school. Okay, so I haven't known him since high school.
No,
Okay.
because he came to visit us when we were married.
Oh, okay. But I'm talking to you right now, and we go back that far. So,
And since my mother died,
mm-hmm.
I think nobody's known me longer.
God, it's a testament to the fact that we're still talking to each other. We were married, and we're still talking to each other.
Yeah.
We weren't for a
I
while.
don't know why that's important, but it is.
I think it's important. It's important to me. Sometimes my wife says to me, "Oh, you're talking to that old girlfriend again?" And I went, "Yeah, I stay friends with people I may have had a relationship with, but that doesn't mean I don't stay friends. It's just that my needs and their needs went in different directions, And I take great pride in the fact that there are quite a few girlfriends and ex-wives that I still talk to. I think it's a testament to me because I have engendered such a decent relationship with them while we were together, and I think it's a testament to them that they're still stupid enough to keep talking to me.
We've gone way over, huh?
Oh God, have we gone way? Well, screw it. Otherwise I got to go talk to people, and.
Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I have to go back to writing.
Yeah. So I'll talk to you in a couple of weeks, and then I'll be able to grouse to you about if in a couple of weeks I'm ready to do any of this kind of thing. But I should be. They remember that I was told went to the site that my doctor has. and I looked up the prostate seed thing, brachytherapy they call it, and brachytherapy. Isn't that a cute name? Brachytherapy. Where they put the seeds in, and at the very end, and I'm quoting it off the top of my mind. It says, and the next day, most people can go back to doing what they normally do, whether it's going to work or playing golf.
Did he say that?
Yeah, it says playing golf, and I'm going. I think I played golf once in my life. What does this mean? That once you put the seeds in me, I'm going to have this overwhelming desire to go out and play golf?
I have to ask you a question. Over your right shoulder, why do you have Coca-Cola bottles?
Oh, because they all have names. I bought them from Coke. They have Bolo on there, which was my nickname. And one says Alex, and one says Marjorie, and one says OK Mills, which is her nickname.
Why do they have your names on them?
Because you could buy them that way.
I don't drink Coke, so I didn't know.
Coca-Cola had a promotion. Remember when they started they put different things on bottles, like for a good friend or whatever. And they came up with this campaign, and you could literally pay them to put names on Coca-Cola bottles. So that's what I did, and there they are, or over in the corner she's talking about there. So anyway, okay, get lost.
All right. See you next time.
That's Ronnie Bennett. TimeGoesBy.net. Bye, Ronnie.
Bye.
5 years and still talking. This is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey, everybody. Okay, that's Ronnie, and we went over with her, but we don't mind going over with her. We like talking to her on a regular basis. Okay, all righty. Okay. Hey, by the way, where before I told you I bought a light for in here? Well, I went crazy. Watch this. First, I'll turn this off. Okay, I'll turn one off. Okay. See? And I turn that one off, this one off, and then I get that. But if I turn them all back on, because I got two of them now, and one of them's a big one, look, isn't that wonderful? And then the background's kind of darker, and it's nice. It's good. And I think the picture probably looks better than it normally looks too. Well, it's time to talk to people. If they want to call, if they don't want to call, I can go to sleep early. You know, it's always the rule, but they always keep me awake. So I guess it's time to go to the Skype lines as soon as, and I got to say this, as soon as I can get it working here, right, and getting everything going. Okay, let me see here. Let me turn it on so they can all see that I've got it on. Okay, everybody should start seeing a green thing, and that means that you can then call me if you want to. If you don't want to, I don't give a crap. You know, I'll just continue doing just talking like I want to talk, or turning my lights on and off, which I can also do. Okay. All right. Here comes Todd Moore. Oh, Todd's calling early. Todd usually calls us from his. Wait. Todd, you got to turn off your. And you got to turn on your camera. There we go. Wait a minute. Todd. Are you there? Okay, Todd, good. Okay, all right. And then I got to answer, let's see here. Okay, now I got to start putting people in the thing here so that we can
put us
see
in our
them.
places.
You put you in your place. Let me see here. First of all, there goes. Let's see here. Well, since Todd called first, we'll put him in on the top, and then since Phil called second, we'll put him in the second place. Let me see here. Scuba diver. There we go. Okay. Boom. Okay, and then I do my little transition, and there they are already. Hi, Todd. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. How you doing, my man?
Okay, he's in his truck. Apparently, you're not driving. Hopefully.
No, not now. But guess what I did, man? Because I was so dark last time you couldn't see me. I got a lamp.
Well,
So
because
now hopefully you can see me better.
well, so
That was the reasons why I don't call too much, because you couldn't really
yeah.
see me.
Well, the last time you saw me on the program, I was too dark. That's why I went out and bought lamps. Okay,
No, you look fine, my
there we
brother.
go. You see?
Stop that.
Yeah, and of course, there's Phil Meyer, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm always dark.
I have something.
Well,
I have something for Phil, by the way.
Dark side.
I went out and I bought. I have this one lamp. It's called Key Light, and that same company makes a bigger light. And I wanted to pay cash for it, and I could only pay cash for it at one store here in New York, and it was. It's a bigger one over here, which is really nice. If I use this other machine, I look glorious. But it makes the resolution better too, because he doesn't have to suck stuff out. But if you want to know where I bought it from, Phil,
You went to the Jews.
yeah, I went to Hasid's. There we went. Well, I could have gone to B&H, you know. Let's see, other Jews. Now I can throw this away.
Yeah.
I don't need it.
I got a Rama. You know that building has got like 7 floors of stuff.
I guess it does. Mine was right on the first floor.
Well, a lot of stuff is, but
Yeah.
they have. I think on their 3rd floor they have underwater camera stuff, and it's a big building.
They do carry a lot of underwater stuff. In fact they have a kind of, it's not like an advertisement, but an extra name for the store that engenders that, like I don't know, sports.
Yeah. I've bought stuff from them. I can't remember the name.
Yeah. But anyway, it's the first time I've ever bought anything from them. But they had what I wanted. Although I would have liked to gotten one of the other key lights. And now that I've got this big, huge light over here, I'm thinking of replacing it with another one of these.
On the first floor, that's where they have the video cameras also.
Mm-hmm.
The right-hand corner. Did you see some of those Canon 3-chip cameras and stuff like that?
Oh yeah. I mean, I passed by them, but I didn't want to take time looking at them because it's so bothersome to me. Since last month, I had a $19,000 bill from my lawyer.
And, yeah, you got to stay away from that.
Well, actually, I can afford to buy the cameras. I'm thinking of buying like a $2,000 camera, but I'm waiting for a vacation that I'm going to take where I need it, because the rest of the time I got my phone, which is great for that, and my the phone is terrific for it, and I've also got what do you call it, the GoPro. And the quality is really terrific. But
by
the way, I may have to get up and go to the bathroom. For some reason, the effects of the radiation has affected me the last couple of days, where it didn't last week when I ended it. And so I have all these little side effects, like having to pee a lot, and I actually pooped my pants today.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, good. No, thanks.
Well, it's one of those things where you think you're going to fart and you don't. You know what I'm talking about? A
I
shark?
do that all the time.
No, you do that all the way. Yeah, but with your line of work, that must get very uncomfortable. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, do you ever do you have like a porta potty in the truck the same way they do in small boats? It's sort of a place where you can do what you got to do, and it's like a marine toilet. But
yeah, we got those, but a lot of truck drivers do not have those. I do.
Yeah.
It's very crazy with the other drivers that don't have those.
Yeah.
But
you see
truck stop or you see people running out and they're older and their bladders are not the same and everything like that. And it's not a pretty sight.
Yeah.
It's not a.
Hey, I also meant to ask you, that light, since you're in a truck, is that like a 12-volt light, or is it runs off battery, or?
Everything in my truck, pretty much, that I'm running. I sit my phone on top of my laptop computer, and to the left of me is my TV or my big, huge tablet I have here.
Inverter.
Yeah, big, huge one. I can run your house refrigerator off of it.
Wow.
Really?
I've done it before. before.
Well, when you get a chance, drive by and I'll let you use my house refrigerator. Give it a.
Doesn't make ice.
Oh, does it? I'm fine with that. I'm not big on ice. Okay.
But anyway, so so I got a lot of lights in here, and I don't have to use as many lights in the room. So you notice the background is a little dark, so I have a little definition here. So I think.
Well, I had to turn my lights down because since I converted to Catalina, and my Logitech camera, the software doesn't work anymore.
That's why I never went to Catalina.
Yeah, and
I'm not talking about going to the island. I'm talking about the latest a Mac program. The fact is, what I did is I installed it on one of my other machines, and it's a machine that I have to when the show's through, I dump my program over there, and that's where the what do you call it? The encoder is to go out to the internet, and it wouldn't show up. I couldn't. I did everything I could to make it show up, and it wouldn't show up. I even went online and posted things. Nobody knew what to do. I mean, it just wasn't ready for prime time, and since I never put it in the first place, I'm not going to take a chance now.
Yeah, well, that's the only thing any of the things to do with the camera. I also had a second party program or third party program that worked with the Logitech camera and the Mac. That doesn't work either. So I can't adjust the brightness. It's fairly dark in here, but you couldn't tell that from the brightness in the camera.
Well, you know what pisses me off a little bit about Apple, among other things, is that Apple, if they're such a good company, why is it that after they put out a new operating system, which you would think they had tested and tested and tested and tested and tested.
They do for their stuff.
Yeah, but tested. And then all of a sudden, things like the network, which should work, doesn't work. Right. Okay? Or if it does work, I don't know how to make it work. Or maybe it doesn't work with this machine because this machine doesn't have Catalina in it. And if you think I'm going to put Catalina in this machine, which I'm doing the shows with every night, and take the chance that I'm not going to be able to do a show for a month or so, so what I do is I make sure that I always have a backup, and then if I installed Catalina on that machine, it didn't work, I had a backup. I went and reinstalled the old one, and I was good to go. But and the other thing about Apple is, do you ever notice that every time they have an update to their operating system, or something like I don't know, Safari or whatever, it takes forever to load it in. With Windows, I find that it's very fast.
Yeah, that's because they have a Windows update every day, sometimes twice a day.
Well, the thing is but Apple with their updates they take. You go, okay, all right, update. Okay, we'll require a restart. Okay, I'll do that. And then they go restart, and then it says it'll be 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes before this thing is loaded. And you're going, come on, I got things to do with my life.
I know.
And this is Apple, the great, wonderful Apple.
Well, I had a nice time. I went to Delancey Street for Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
And I had the show on the phone and tapped in a couple of times.
Yeah.
But Delancey
That's
Street.
You're really a romantic at heart, aren't you, Phil? I mean, you take your girlfriend, because she's not your wife yet. You take your girlfriend out to Valentine's Day dinner, and what do? You listen to this program. That's really romantic.
I just had it on the side. The thing is...
just like the Caesar dressing. Yeah, right.
Dedicated listener.
Yeah.
But the Delancey Street Foundation is run by convicts that have been let out of prison, and I can say this: they had the greatest service. They were so nice. And, these guys, I mean, they were tatted up and, they didn't have, kill.
Well, to begin with, they don't run it, and they didn't start it. It was started by this woman who
clipped somebody, right?
And she created kind of a charity thing in which
right.
her whole idea was she would open up these restaurants and she would get ex-convicts to man them, and she pays them well. It's not like she's using them as slave labor or anything like that. Hi, Patrick, is using them as slave labor, but she's very much into rehabilitating them and feeling that by giving them a job and giving them some kind of responsibility will allow them to do that rather than just throw them out into the rest of the world and have them have to steal for a living.
Yeah. Well, they years ago in San Francisco, they had a restaurant on Union Street, and they had a mansion up in Pacific Heights where they all
yes,
and they sold that. And they bought a place on the Embarcadero near the ballpark, and they have a big apartment building where the guys who are participating in the foundation live, and the restaurant is right there by Bryant and on the Embarcadero. Very nice.
And the one place you could get a reservation.
The night before, because I couldn't find another place. It was In-N-Out Burger.
How was the food?
The food was good. I had a steak. Faye had the salmon, and the food was good. I had a couple of glasses of wine. I was feeling no pain. It was okay. I was glad to find the place.
Well, that's good. That's good.
It's going to be a bum.
So anyway, how you doing, Patrick?
Tip top.
Tip top. He's always tip top, ladies and gentlemen. I've never ever asked him that question and had him say, "I feel like crap."
What do you feel like crap about?
Well, I know. Well, I've got a little bit. I think my hernia is bothering me a little bit, or I'm imagining it's bothering me because I want to get this thing taken care of next week before my hernia goes on me. I have a feeling I am now in a period of my life where I'm like a bad tire that you keep patching up. And I have a heat patch on all parts of my body. I think the prostate, that'll take care of your hernia. You
didn't start falling apart until recently. I started, the eyesight went in the 40s. In the 50s, something else went. In the 60s, more stuff went. It's like, every decade, I start falling apart a little bit more.
Well, just wait till you get my age.
I'll be so lucky.
If you reach it. Yeah, if you reach it. But at my age, you just go. I think it was Ronnie referred to once as an organ recital. You say everything that's wrong with you, and it's an organ recital.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Hey, did you do for Valentine's? You didn't sniff
Nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing. Now you say, well, how unromantic are you, Alex? No, I'm not unromantic at all. We talked about this the other day. I'm very logical about it. The fact is that it's the one night of the year that if you go to any restaurant, they're going to charge you double what they would the night before or the night afterward. So why not have that nice romantic dinner some other time? Why play that game?
Well, Faye likes a card. And if I don't get her a card, I'm in the doghouse. But we're at the restaurant, and she says, "No flowers?" And so I used your excuse. I said, "Well, the roses will be cheaper tomorrow."
Yeah. And she doesn't want to hear that. No, that's not the answer, Phil.
She's Asian. It sounded good to her. Asians are usually very.
No, what you do is you say you use the same excuse you used for why you had to wind up eating with convicts. Okay, and that is that sorry, Faye, but I tried to buy roses, but they were all out.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good one.
Mm-hmm. And then she could say to you, and she can't use the excuse like, well, why didn't you buy them earlier? Because you say because they would die by the time I got them to you.
That's right.
And quite frankly, why should I give you something that dies when I want to give you something that lives? Me.
Yeah, well, they have something on the table.
Oh, come on, Patrick. Don't vomit.
with the roses.
I'm
that
just
were on
coming
the
up with
table,
cheap excuses. What?
Yeah. I pointed to the roses on the table. I said, there they are.
Well, there's always, a lot of restaurants, if somebody comes to your table, would you like to buy a rose?
That would have been okay.
A rose for the lady? Oh, how much? $85?
Yeah. Then you say no and you look like a jerk.
Yeah. So.
Or you say yes and you are a jerk.
So anyway, by the way, with YouTube, I've been getting tired every night of having to ask them to review the show. Because once they review it in most cases, they allow it to be monetized.
They probably never look.
By the way, so far, ready? I've made $2.31.
Wow.
You know, at this rate,
are you going to share it with Jack and the other and Damien?
Oh, excuse me. No. I just said "fuh." I didn't say the complete word. Although if you say it later on in the show, they don't get to it. You know, so. But anyway. No, but but I'm getting tired of it. I put up 2 shows, both the same shows. One of them passes, the other one doesn't, and you go, "What's going on here?" You know, there's something very arbitrary about all of this. What are you saying? You were going like this? Could you hear me?
I can't hear you guys that well.
You can't hear.
I did a little while ago. I'm having trouble hearing.
Where are you listening to us from? What are you listening to us on?
My phone that I always listen to.
Oh, okay, but you can't hear. Turn the speaker up on the phone a little bit.
I did.
You did?
I did that.
Oh, okay. Well, apparently you're hearing the sound. Why don't you have earphones you can put on the phone?
No, I heard you guys fine, but then all of a sudden earlier, you guys kind of went really low. So
Wow.
I don't know what happened.
Well, I don't know. We're sending everything out the way it should be going out here. So everybody
All right,
else can
cool.
hear me okay, right? You can hear me, right, Phil? You can hear me?
I can see you guys fine. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so that, you know, I consider, Valentine's Day, it's like all these holidays creep up on you all the time. First it's Christmas, and then it's New Year's, and then it's Valentine's Day, and then it's this, and then it's that, and you got to buy something for this and for that, you know. And why is it we guys are the ones who always have to buy a gift or take somebody out to dinner?
Well, she was going to take me, but I put the card down. You know?
Oh, okay. Yes.
I got an answer for that.
Yeah.
Because we're suckers.
Oh, yeah.
That's why.
Oh, easily,
That's why.
Todd. No question about it.
I mean, we're the ones that's supposed to be the bread providers and this, that, and the third. So logically, we're the suckers first.
Yeah, it's part of the other movement that's going on, the not me movement.
Not me too.
The not me movement. No, I'm not paying for it. You know. How did he mistreat you? He didn't buy me dinner on Valentine's Day. Oh, God. You know, me too. You have somebody in your life, right, Todd?
Say it again?
You have somebody in your life, Todd?
Yeah, I do. For Valentine's Day, I had a pretty good one. I got out of the truck for a little bit. Spent a little time with, my daughter.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? My baby Jasmine. That was cool.
Yeah.
And I chilled with her moms, and we was all chilling, and it was cold. But that's where I got the lamp from, and it was a good time finally getting out of the truck for just a couple of days. I had to go back to work, real soon. But my job, I don't know what's going on with my company. They're making a lot of mistakes. They're just giving me a hard way to go.
When you talk about your company, what are you referring to exactly?
Well, I'm a contractor.
Okay.
So I pull loads from another company.
Mm-hmm.
And the company I pull loads for are giving me a hard way to go. That's the best way to put it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Route? The route is hard?
Say what?
The route is hard?
No, not the route. The jobs, the lack of jobs, the fuel card, calling in to try to find out what's going on, and they'll hang up on you and don't pick up the phone, or they don't want to talk at all. Things like that is going on right now. There's a lot of changes that happened from the new year. Mm-hmm. And there's a new CEO in here now, and he's doing a great job, but he tried to do too much too fast, and a lot of the other drivers ain't hanging around for it. A lot of them left.
I heard this advertisement on the radio, and Walmart was looking for drivers, and they said they paid 85 cents a mile, and that they also paid while you had to sleep. I guess there's a DOT rest time that you have to take, and they said they also paid for that and certain other things. Is that a good deal for trucking? Or? And I think they provide everything. They just wanted drivers.
Yeah, well, but he's got a truck. He's got a truck for hire here.
Yeah, I'm a little different than driving for Walmart. Walmart are company drivers. They get 401ks. They get certain other things like that. They don't. I really couldn't say exactly how they're. I mean, I drive for them a lot of the times. My company, we get called pop-up fleets, and they pay real good. But I try to stay away from Walmart because, no disrespect, I kind of look at Walmart as like Nazi Germany. So I kind of like leave them be. I worked for them a while back, and they're not nice people. If you have a problem or whatever, they'll say, well, you'll never work for me again, and da-da-da-da-da. And I'll be like, wow, oh my God, for real? I won't work for you again? I worked for you 10 times before you said that, and each time you said that. So it's like, take it easy, dude. I don't know.
Yeah.
Now, you know how they're saying that they're going to have robots driving the trucks in a certain amount of time. Mm-hmm. Is that impacting you or your vision for the future? Or?
Yeah, it's pretty much starting right now. There's already trucks out here right now that robots are or they're computer controlled trucks. They'll have like somebody sitting behind the wheel. He'll be playing on his cell phone, and the truck's driving itself. Yeah. And then you have a lot of different things going on, but there's been a problem with a couple of the trucks running over people and doing a lot of things that is making a lot of people turn away from it. Walmart's not one of them. Walmart, Amazon, a few other ones are really looking forward to the future, just like they do with their stores. Like in the stores, you have the self-checkout. Mm-hmm. Well, they're doing the same thing with, that's what you would want to do. It's cheaper to do it.
There's one advantage to getting run over. There's one advantage to getting run over by a robot truck. That if you tell anybody the story, they'll go, "Cool."
Well, if you live through it, yes. But most of the people that got ran over didn't live through it.
No.
And the families didn't either.
No. Well, didn't they have some self-driving Ubers or something that were going on for a while? They tried.
Yes. One ran over, I think there was one, or I think it was a Tesla vehicle. The first one ran over a girl or something like that on a bicycle or something.
Yeah.
There was somebody that ran out from between two parked cars, and they got hit.
It's a different one. Okay, that's more. Okay.
I think they got to get. I think they got to get those bugs worked out. Otherwise, these companies are going to go out of business just from the lawsuits.
If you've seen the self-driving cars running around, and I've seen the Google test cars, I saw one on Highway 13, and they had these weird gyro things on their roof. I guess they're like radar, and they sense the stuff that's out there. But they had a whole bunch of stuff on the roof. It was not cool looking.
Yeah,
not sporty.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get my sound up. Sorry.
Yeah, it might just be your volume.
Yeah, I don't, because it was fine a minute ago.
What?
Wow.
Yeah.
If bang on it, it'll fix it.
Do you want to hang?
I'm gonna try to hit a button, and if I hang up, I'll call right back.
Okay, fine, good. Okay, hit a button. Watch him hit a button. He's hitting the button. He hit the button yet?
Well, Alex, so you didn't go out for Valentine's Day. Mm-hmm. You did go to Adorama. Mm-hmm. How many LEDs are in that light?
I don't know. Huh? I don't know because the light is covered with an opaque kind of thing.
Oh, a filter.
Well, it's not a filter. It's just white, and all the lights are under it. And I don't know how many it has in there, to be honest with you.
It don't came with one of those plexiglass things that come with a white and a clear.
No, I don't need that. Like I don't need that because I can change the color on the light. Well, watch. Let's see if I can do it here. You see that? You see that?
Yeah.
And now I get more orangey. Yeah. Right? That's orangey. Yeah. So So I can change the light, go from bright white to orange,
and yellow.
Yeah, and yellow in between, things like that. Yeah,
pretty neat.
Hey Tony, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Yeah,
Mom's doing okay.
I didn't ask about your mom.
Oh, fine.
Because if we we always pray for your mom's health.
I appreciate it too.
Not because we love your mom, but because we don't want you sleeping on our couch.
That's true. I come with baggage. Here's my clothes.
What?
Here's my clothes. Drop a light.
Here's my clothes. Yeah.
What's on the manure tomorrow?
Yeah.
Hey, I once slept on Alex's couch for almost a week, and you know what? It was comfortable. You remember?
How'd you throw him? Alex, how'd you get rid of him?
Sausalito during the slides.
How'd I get rid of him? I didn't. You know,
that was nice.
They let us back into our respective houses. I got evacuated.
Can you hear us better, Todd?
Yeah, I can hear you guys better now. Okay. I don't know what's going on my phone.
I don't know. It's all, what kind of phone is it? Is it an iPhone or a Samsung or a...
It's a Galaxy Note 9.
Yeah. Well, I don't know anything about those, so I couldn't tell you how to fix them. So.
I love the phone.
Galaxy, has that got a rotary dial?
What?
Oh, you got smart ass stuff to say.
Yeah. Don't go dissing his phone for crying out loud.
Right. I'll deal with him later, Alex. I'll get him later. He knows I'll get him later.
You're gonna show up at your store.
I'm gonna get some water.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you go get some water. Yeah, get a drink.
And while he's gone, I can say the word.
Trump.
Huh? No, not Trump. Bloomberg.
Yeah, he's raging in the polls. Did you see that Trump let out Carrick from jail? I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I can't believe that one.
Like, oh my God.
He didn't Carrick's been out of jail, Tony.
I thought he let him out.
No. That was Blagojevich was the one that got out of jail. Oh, he's back now. Don't say those words.
I know he's partying the hoods.
Yeah, what?
Everybody owes money to Vegas.
Yeah, everybody he owes money to.
Money to favors. Remember when I let you go on that? All right, I'll pardon you.
You owe me a favor one day. I may ask for that favor
it's almost
back.
like he is Brando in The Godfather.
Yeah, no, he's not Brando in The Godfather. Nah, he's what's his name? What was the
weak brother Fredo?
Fredo. He's the Fredo. Trump is Fredo.
You don't come to Vegas him like that. Don't ever take sides against the family.
What? What'd you say? We said the magic word, and all of a sudden, here we go.
Philly's pardoning people like crazy.
He pardoned DeBartolo, who was the owner of the team. Pardon the guy that deflated the football or something, or
well, I mean, who knows? He let Blagojevich go, who was a Democrat.
Yeah,
remember what he was in jail for, don't you?
What did he
do? Obama's Senate seat.
Selling Obama's Senate seat.
You could sell a Senate seat.
Yeah.
Well, you couldn't. That's
I got to tell you, I interviewed Blagojevich back when I was at Sirius XM.
Good hair.
I liked the guy.
Oh, really?
He was a good interview. He was a cool guy. Really cool guy. Tried to sell me a senatorship, but I didn't want to buy.
He actually got paid for his seat?
No, he didn't. If he would have, then he wouldn't have gone to jail.
Right.
He must have hated Obama with a passion. It's up the seat.
No, he offered he said, if I got a deal for you, is I think what he said to somebody.
Can you imagine this, please?
Yeah.
Chicago or Illinois.
No, Bernard Kerrick's been out of jail for quite a while now.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
I heard he pardoned him. I was confused.
Yeah, well, no, when you pardon somebody, what you're doing is you're basically erasing their crime.
So it's like he never got arrested.
Well, you're in other words, for instance, Bernard Kerrick, because he went to jail for, I think his sentence was 5 years. I think he spent 2 of them or something like that.
Okay.
In addition to having to go to prison, you lose your right to vote. So if the president pardons you, you get all those rights and privileges back. Okay.
I thought they were giving people that were in prison the right to vote, or if you got out of prison.
There's been that suggestion, and I think it's still sitting around Congress somewhere with some senator masturbating to it. I don't know.
That means that Trump is getting one vote at a time from prisoners. Now you get votes from Mexicans and.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that Blagojevich was still in prison, so that was a guy who's getting out of prison because of it.
Tomorrow, I think.
Yeah, I think, and on the day after tomorrow, he's going to become a Republican. And everybody else was somebody that Trump owed money to. So, I mean, it all comes out in the wash. What?
Paid $1 million fine, and he was on probation for 2 years. So he never actually went to prison.
Was DeBartolo pardoned in all of this? I didn't hear his name come up.
Yeah. And Rice and a bunch of other 49ers were at the White House today, along with DeBartolo and his family.
Oh, my God. Boy, can they be bought off. God. Oh, well. Too bad. Anyway, but I mean, and then Kerrick, what a fucking crook. Just and you know what they didn't mention in any of the news items, and I thought they would, but then again, the news people today aren't that good. Who was Bernard Kerrick's business partner?
Rudy.
Yeah, it was Giuliani partners with Rudy Giuliani and Bernard Kerrick.
Come on, it's a favor. You know it.
He's employing
it's a favor, Phil. Be honest. Even I gotta admit.
It's his version of Delancey Street.
And the service was good.
And the service is good. Yeah.
So obvious.
So why are you here serving us dinner? Well, I was pardoned by Trump.
Yeah.
Kerrick special.
Yeah, but I mean Kerrick. I mean, what a crook.
And he looks like a crook.
No, he is. I know somebody who I know
face.
somebody who dated him for several years and said, "Is he?" I said, "Were he and Giuliani crooks?" And she says, "You have no idea."
Now she's a Fox commentator now, right?
No.
I think.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Does she look kind of
Fox? The who do you call it? What's the company? News Corp people. Murdoch wants nothing to do with her.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, because of that whole OJ thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't own Fox.
I'm not saying who the woman is, but look it up. But I mean, I said to her, I said, were they dirty? And she says, you have no idea what was going on there.
I can only imagine the stories they could probably tell.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I mean, this, and then the whole Roger Stone thing, all of that. I mean, at least if you're going to play it like that, if you're going to eventually take care of Roger Stone because he watched out for you, do it at a time when nobody's paying attention.
Yeah.
But he did it in such a way that it became a major bone of contention. I mean, how dare he do that to Roger Stone? And so
just said his sentence didn't fit the crime.
Well, yeah, but well, I kind of think it did, but that's Let's see, who is this? I think this is. It's Jeff. Hold on a second while I find a space here for Jeff. We could make room for you, Jeff. I just didn't recognize the number because it's so long. I can't even say it here. It says CID CBA 89480A8B3. Well, you know what I'm saying, okay?
That's his regular number.
Huh? There we go. There's Jeff. Hi, Jeff. Where are you? Are you still down in Miami?
I am right down the street to Miami. Yeah.
Right down the street in Miami. Okay. Todd's here, and Patrick's here, and our good friend Rob Blagojevich is here. No, Tony is here, and also here is Phil Meyer. So that's our group for tonight, folks. Ta-da! So anyway, no, what I was going to say is that I think he chose the wrong time to stand up for Roger Stone at this moment. He should have just let our Justice Department do what they were going to do with Roger Stone for the time being. And then later on, if it's later on in the year, or maybe he doesn't get reelected and the term's almost over or whatever, then that's the time to do it. All right? But he picked a bad time because now everybody wants our Attorney General's head on a spike. And of course, he tried to make it sound like, well, I know how to... Trump is making it difficult for me to do my job, and I think that was all set up to kind of like, pay no attention to the guy behind the curtain.
That's how McCabe got off. Andy McCabe, they let him go, probably in reaction to Trump interfering with Roger Stone.
Yeah.
McCabe, they were talking about criminal prosecution, and they said, no, we're not going to prosecute. And
something like 4 members of the Justice Department quit. The attorneys quit over this whole thing because they said they didn't think that Roger Stone should be given special, because there was nothing wrong. There was nothing wrong with the Roger Stone. It's Roger, right? That's his first name. Yeah, Roger Stone's sentence because it was within guidelines. It's also sentences that are predetermined by law.
He wasn't sentenced. It was just a recommendation by the DOJ.
No. But what he was sentenced to. I mean, Trump says he hasn't been sentenced yet.
No, it was a recommendation by the Department of Justice.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So what Barr did was he said he thought the recommendation was too high and that it should have been less, but it'll be up to the judge as to whether or not what the term is.
Yeah,
it was recommendation.
Patrick.
Well, it's sure not going to be up to Barr anymore because he's going to quit. So
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's been all over the news the last hour or so that he is considering quitting over Trump tweets. And let me tell you something, and you know this very well, Phil. If Trump gets wind of that, Trump will fire him regardless. And then, right, so I mean, he's already signing his own death warrant as far as getting fired.
Here's what it says on Drudge. Barr warns, I'll walk if you keep tweeting.
Really?
Right.
Yeah.
That's a guarantee that he's walking, because there's no way in fuck that he's going to stop tweeting for anything.
Well, he just wants him to stop tweeting about DOJ, the attorneys, the judges, and the cases that he's working on.
That's all that he has control over, and that's all that affects him. Okay, so obviously those would be the things he would be.
And there's no reason why Trump can't tweet about other stuff. It's just, and I agree with Barr. I think that Trump shouldn't tweet about those things.
Well, it certainly taints cases. Yes, Patrick.
And do you think Trump is going to allow some minion below him to dictate what he should or shouldn't do, or even suggest that?
We'll see.
By the way,
I hope he does.
He won't. Barr's going to be gone by tomorrow, if not by the time we're done with this show, because it's over with for Barr. And then what I love about Trump, and that being sarcastic, is Barr is going to be the worst motherfucker in the world, and he was the worst attorney general, worse than Jeff Sessions. He's a traitor. He's a this. He's a that. I mean,
I'd be disappointed if that's the way it goes down.
What do you think about this, Todd?
Well, oh boy. I don't think he's gonna go anywhere. If he does, that'll be a surprise. That's Trump's buddy. They both work hand in hand. Two thickest thieves. So I don't really see him going anywhere. If he does, that'd be good. But I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. By the way, we have really low amount of people watching us tonight. Like really low, and I don't know what happened. Did we lose a signal for a while or something? Is that
because of Tony's background?
Oh, that's what it is. It's so hideous they have to turn off their TV set. I didn't stop to think about that. We should talk to Tony about that when he comes back, that he loses this audience because of that. Let me see here. Ray Renati has just joined us. Let me add him to the, let me see here. Darth Pat, no, not Whiphead, not that. Goomba 61, there we are. Okay. Now he should be there. Oh, I got to put him up here. There we go, and transition him. There we go. Hi there, Ray. How are you this evening?
Good. How are you?
What do you think about all these pardons that have been issued today?
Well, it kind of made me a little sick.
Didn't you get a pardon, Ray?
I did. The Bernardi crime family was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what I don't get is that this could be like a new Oprah show. You get a pardon, and you get a pardon, and you get a pardon.
I mean, the one that made me. I think Milken out of jail already.
No, he hasn't been in jail for years.
Yeah.
What just bothers me about that is that guy ripped off a bunch of really old people of their pensions and stuff.
He gave a lot of that money away. He was a big philanthropist.
He became a big philanthropist after the fact.
He was even before.
No, well,
he was giving away. It was kind of like Robin Hood.
So you're saying that what I just said is wrong?
What, Milken? No, I believe that he was a philanthropist before he got caught.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but didn't he rip off a ton of people of their pension money?
Came up with these junk bonds, and people were greedy, and they invested in these things, and they weren't good investments. And
but he set it up to make it look like a good thing to do to people who were ignorant.
Possibly, I'm not 100% sure.
I remember.
Yeah.
I remember following, and then there was a guy he worked with who died. Who was that? He had cancer. The other guy actually was the.
Yeah, I read the name today. What was it? Started with a B, I think.
Yeah, I didn't read. I just remember there was another guy, and they were both in on it, and they were purposely ripping off old people. And
yeah.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Well.
I'll look up what.
And the guy let out of jail. What's his name? That scumbag who sold Obama's seat.
Well, that was Rob Blagojevich. I was mentioning earlier that I actually interviewed Rob when he was on the show, when he came to do my show at Sirius XM, and I actually liked the guy. You know, he was a good interview.
I'll tell you, every criminal I have ever known has been the nicest person.
Oh, believe me, I got to tell you, there've been several guys who've gone to jail who I've had on my show. I guess it's a trend, but they were all Republicans too. That was the trend as well. Who was the guy from Texas? What was his name?
Oh,
what was his name?
What was his name again? I remember you said it.
Yeah, he wound up on Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah.
He was actually one of the best guests I ever had on. Very charming. You know,
was he a good dancer?
No, he got it. I think he got off the show on the first go round or something. But I'm trying to remember what his name was. And I'll tell you what it reminded me of is Alfred Hitchcock years ago when they asked him why all the bad guys in his movies were so good looking. His answer was, well, if anybody was as ugly as you think they should be to be a bad guy in a movie, they couldn't get within 10 feet of their victim. So, of course, charming, nice people are going to commit the biggest crimes. That's how they commit their crimes.
That is true. Look at Ted Bundy. I was watching a documentary on him. They didn't even know. Like, he was a decent-looking guy.
Well, and he could schmooze his way out of certain situations, too.
I mean, that was amazing. I couldn't believe that.
Yeah. And, yeah. So, yes, Todd.
Yeah. I couldn't get away with Jack. Not because my color, just the way I look. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm not no Ted Bundy. I couldn't get away with nothing.
Well, I'm certainly glad that you weren't here for stop and frisk. Anyway.
Yeah, I
Phil
was.
had him against the wall.
Oh, you were. You were talking about it the other night. You were here for stop and frisk.
Yeah, I was in town.
Yeah.
I wasn't living back in New York, but I got stopped a couple of times.
Yeah.
Up against the wall.
Well, here's where Bloomberg is here's where Bloomberg is explaining himself badly. Okay? What he should be saying is, well, the reason I targeted those people is because I was targeting people who were the most subject to commit crimes, which are people in high poverty areas and people who are poor, and that they would be more likely. And that's Harlem was, let's be honest, an absolutely, at that time, dreadful neighborhood.
You want to be there.
I wouldn't have moved in here at that time. And I know people that didn't want to move here, and not only did not want to move here, if they did live here, wanted to get out of it, because it was that dangerous. It was the new Jack City version of Harlem. So he just could excuse a lot of that in a way by saying, I did what I thought was best to protect those neighborhoods, and perhaps I was wrong in the way I did it, and that if it terrorized anybody as a result, I humbly apologize for it. And while they still won't let him off with that, it'll ease it a little bit. But explain crime as a poverty thing and not as a race thing. Would you agree with that, Todd?
I really don't know. I really can't answer that up.
Yeah.
But he has a lot more skeletons in the closet right now. Especially that other one with what is it? Something happened with court or something like that with some person that was black or something. I don't know exactly.
Look, they're gonna find everything they possibly can get on Bloomberg. But the fact is, I think he's going to be able to finesse his way out of all of it. And I'm going to tell you why. And I know Phil's got his hand up because he's dying to say something here. But the fact is, I think Bloomberg is the guy that Trump is most afraid of. And he's afraid of him because Bloomberg could spend $5 billion on this race, and it wouldn't even make his ass itch, I mean, it's pocket lint to him. To Trump, it's everything. Trump can't $5 million to battle him.
He can throw him a tip right on the podium.
Yeah.
Buy yourself lunch. It's on me.
Yeah. Yes. Let Phil first. Phil's had his hand up for a while. Yes, Phil.
Interesting.
Have you seen the videos that they've been playing from 2010, 11, 16, and 18 of Bloomberg making racist remarks and and a number of other things? They got this guy dead to right on tapes. You see, what he portrays himself as during his ads is not who he is. And once he starts becoming a little bit higher in the polls like he is, all of this stuff is coming out. And it's not only going to come, the other people who want his money aren't going to say anything. But
Phil, I'm going to tell you how he's going to battle this. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you how he's going to fight it. Okay, plain and simple. All right. Okay, you ready? It's called $5 million. Okay, that's how he's going to fight it, Phil.
Well, yes,
$5 billion. Excuse me. $5 billion.
All of that stuff that he said on tape is free. And he also just insulted the farmers today or yesterday. I mean, this guy has more gaffes than Biden does.
I'll tell you. You can talk about gaffes or anything you want to. Once again, I'm saying $5 billion will buy him the election.
I don't think
so.
I think the interesting thing. He's got Bernie Sanders now and
There's
AOC
Bree.
on his butt.
Yeah, well, Bernie Sanders is going to be the worst thing ever happened to the Democratic Party. Okay.
Yeah, I want.
Wait a minute, you disagree with me, Todd?
Yeah, I disagree with you. Keep on attacking my man Bernie, bro.
Oh man, wait a minute, I forgot. Bernie's got a gang. And
I'm not a Bernie bro, okay? But I'm saying, man, compared to Bloomberg with money, so we're gonna go with a Trump versus a Trump. That's one is a Democrat, one's a Republican with money.
You can't tell which they are. They're
by the.
Yeah, but I got to tell you, right?
Bloomberg has been accused by his employees of running a very uncomfortable work environment.
Well, the work environment they're complaining about is a few years back when all companies had that same kind of work environment. Wait a minute, let me finish, Phil. They all had that kind of work environment, and because of the Me Too movement and other such things, they have changed their way of operating. And you cannot go to. I've known women who worked for Bloomberg who said it was an absolute wonderful place to work. Okay. Absolutely wonderful place to work. Now, we're talking about Bloomberg Broadcasting is where I knew people that were there, but they said they never had a better job. They were paid better than they had ever gotten paid anywhere, that the medical benefits and things like that were the best of any job they ever had. I've never heard a bad word about it from anybody. People were literally knocking down doors to try and go to work for Bloomberg.
So he paid them well before he grabbed them by the pussy.
He didn't grab anybody by the pussy, and nobody's accused him of that. So don't even start that kind of rumor, Phil. But anyway, let's get back to Todd and Bernie. I think Bernie is. Can I say this? I think that he is what we call what's the word I'm looking for? Passive. He's passive aggressive. Oh, me? I wouldn't do anything evil in this election. I'm a good guy. And, well, your people are saying this and your people are doing that. Well, those are people I don't have control over.
So is Bloomberg. He's a passive.
Wait a minute. Let me forget about it. We're not talking about that right now, Phil. You're changing the subject. What I'm saying is Bernie is not the good guy that you would think that he is. He's using some pretty crappy tactics here and there to win this election. And he's allowing them to be done in his name. And then he denies that he has anything to do with it. So
it's Wednesday night is the debate, right?
I'm going to watch that tomorrow because Bloomberg's going to be on it, I think, Alex, tomorrow.
They're going to pile on Bloomberg.
Well, they're going to pile on Bloomberg, and what that's going to do is
he's going to be black and blue.
No, but they're going to pile on him. But here's the good news: they pile on him. All the attention is going to go off of all the other candidates and be focused right on him. And people are going to be paying more attention to Bloomberg than they are to anybody else. And if he can come out somewhat unscathed in that, if he looks like he's being pounced upon, gangbanged by these people, he's going to get the pity of the voters.
I believe that
he better keep his answers really short.
Look,
he's going to come back. He's going to get angry.
No, wait a minute, Phil. Yeah. We've got to put Bloomberg in this perspective. Here's a guy who went into the race by just buying ads on television. He didn't go to Iowa. He didn't go to New Hampshire. He didn't go to Nevada. And we all sat around going, how does he expect to even be part of this election? This part of this primary season. And the fact is, by buying all those spots, he's now in the number 2 or 3 spot. Okay, wait a minute. And that's because he bought his way into it. So don't think that he hasn't got a plan for this whole thing,
This is the problem. these surveys that they say that he's got 19% of the vote. Who's conducting these surveys? I think that they're in cahoots.
That was I can't remember who that poll was, but it was a very good poll, Phil. It was a very good poll, very respected poll.
All the money.
What are you saying, Bree?
He's got the guy's worth $61 billion. Does anybody think he couldn't buy this if he wanted it? He can. If he spends if he says my pocketbook is 100% open, well, 99% open, he definitely becomes president. If you spend $60 billion, you become president.
Well, he's not going to spend $60 billion. He doesn't need to spend that. He doesn't need to spend $5 billion. Trump's only got something like maybe $1 billion at his disposal. Yeah. Okay, and he can't afford to go into his own pocket any longer because he doesn't have any real income.
Yeah, that's too bad. Trump is going to starve if he didn't have this presidency.
Trump
only
$1 billion.
What did you say, Todd?
I said Trump ain't starving. He going to jail.
Then he gets 3 hots, if he goes to jail. But
come on,
and a cot.
The boy going to jail, man.
He ain't going to jail. He's got
Bloomberg will let him off.
The presidency.
Billionaires let billionaires off.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. The billionaires don't want Bernie Sanders. They'll stop at nothing to stop Bernie.
That's right.
Well,
you know what's interesting too with Bloomberg, like the past 2 caucuses or whatever they were, none of them were really having high numbers for the Democrats. So there is an opening here, it looks like.
Well, you got to remember, Bernie may have 25% of the vote, but the rest of the vote is going to all the other people. And as soon as some of those wash out, that middle ground is going to suddenly surge in numbers. So it's going to go somewhere, whether it goes to Bloomberg or whether it goes to Buttigieg or whatever.
Do you see any
increase again?
I don't see any Democrat dropping out.
They have to drop out.
I think we're going to see Elizabeth Warren dropping out. Yes.
I think Steyer will drop out.
Oh, Steyer. Yeah, he's the next to go. Yes, Todd.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but no disrespect, but do anybody see it going to Buttigieg? Serious.
I could see it going to Buttigieg. I think that
he's young, it's key, and he has a small area in a state that he did have a lot of problems with African American individuals, and he cannot get a decent African American vote.
Well, a lot of people say, well, if it's between Trump and a Democrat, who are the African Americans going to vote for? And I say nobody. They're just not going to go to the polls. And what you want is them going to the polls.
They'll go for Bernie.
But something though, but there are but Bernie's got a lot of baggage, and Bernie is. To begin with, if any one of the top, the top 4 is it? Bree, would you kill your microphone?
He's doing that.
If the top 4 people are in the race, I think 3 of them are 78. If I'm not mistaken, if you include Bloomberg, is Bloomberg? And Biden. Yeah, they're all 78 years of age. That's awfully old to be running for president of the United States.
Did we ever have a president die in office?
Oh, yeah, of course. Kennedy. Come on. What?
Lincoln, Kennedy.
Oh, that's right, but not by assassination. I meant
no. There have been guys who've died in office.
Roosevelt. Come on.
Roosevelt, good example. Go back further. What's his name? There was one that got shot, and then the bullet took like 10 months to kill him.
Harding. 1 month he was in. Then he ate something in San Francisco.
Oh no, he was up in Alaska, and he came back, and I think he died at the St. Francis Hotel. As a matter of fact,
that's right.
It was a Palace Hotel. It was a Palace Hotel.
Patty Arbuckle sat on him.
Yeah, Patty Arbuckle sat on him. But
wasn't Lincoln shot?
Huh?
But he's a Republican. It didn't count.
Yeah.
Oh, stop. Lincoln was a good president.
I didn't know that Lincoln was Jewish, but he got shot in the temple.
No. That's terrible.
Hey,
I went to that.
Tulsi Gabbard is still running.
What?
Our girl Tulsi Gabbard is still running.
Is she still running?
Yeah, I'm voting for her.
And suing Clinton.
Whatever she wants.
And what she's using as her campaign slogan is, "You can touch me by the pussy."
She's a tough one.
She's a tough one. Yeah, she's a tough one. But I don't know. I don't think the Democrats are having a rough go of it. And in all deference to you, Phil, to your love child, Donald Trump, this guy is so easy to beat. It's a shame the Democrats can't come up with somebody to beat him. Okay.
You think he's easy to beat? I think that most of the country loves the guy.
Oh yeah, most of the country. Wait a minute, Phil. What would most of the country? Wait a minute. What would most of the country be, Phil? What's your definition of most of the country?
Everybody but California.
No, wait a minute. What's your definition of mostly everybody? He still hasn't got 50% approval rating.
Doesn't need 50%. Actually, I thought he had 49?
You're right. Well, but here's the thing, Phil. Yeah. Here's the reality. Okay, so Trump, I'm political communications was one of my main areas, and I took a lot of classes at Maxwell, which is the top school.
So then why are you still a Democrat?
Let me tell you how this works.
Mm-hmm.
Trump wins from a number of different perspectives. I mean, we all know there's so many variables at play. But the advantage that Bloomberg will have is that if there are more Democrats than there are Republicans that vote. So if Bloomberg can get those people out in the strategic areas where he needs, then he wins. And Trump has to rely on keeping this. He has a very solid base, but Bloomberg can get a bigger base quick if he really wants it.
Can I ask you this, Bree? If they steal the deal from Bernie, and Bernie is basically an independent running as a Democrat, so could he end up being a third-party spoiler if they steal his nomination?
No, Bernie will support Bloomberg, and it will, just like he supported Hillary Clinton, and there will be some contentiousness there, and that's what we have to watch for over the next month. We'll see.
There'll be a lot of contention.
Well, the problem is that what you have as the biggest problem is the Democrats just fighting each other so much. I'll get to you in a second, Patrick. Fighting each other so much that they dilute each other in the eyes of the American public. So that when it comes to election time, they go, well, remember what they said about Bernie? Remember what they said about whoever is running? And they've got to be careful about that. They got to, rather than fight each other, they should be fighting for their beliefs and trying to win over the American public on that, instead of saying, oh, Biden's a jerk and Bernie's doing this to me and Elizabeth Warren, whatever. Anyway, Patrick, you had your...
Well,
What?
Hey, Bree, can you mute? Patrick is getting...
Yeah, Patrick's having a hard time of it. Yeah, Patrick.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. I've spoken with my family about the Democrats running and who they favor or think, could win up that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Bree, your mic's still on, and it's overpowering.
Your mic is still on, Bree. And it's overpowering Patrick.
Yeah. Go ahead, Patrick.
Okay. Go ahead.
The biggest problem that the people that I've talked to are having is distinguishing anybody from anyone else. And it just seems that nobody wants to come out as the front runner and, really on the table and say, I'm the one that should be president, except Bloomberg.
Yeah.
And that really has to do with all the ads that we've been putting out.
Yeah, his ads aren't.
Family members,
Mm-hmm.
one that they've come up with that they can really name is either Bernie or Bloomberg. And Bernie, because he was the big deal last time, and Bloomberg, because all they see on TV is Bloomberg ads. So, I said it last week, and I know Scott got upset with me, but it's true. The Democrats have nobody that everybody is getting excited about, like Trump. Mm-hmm. And I don't see even Bloomberg, even if he can buy the election, I can't see him getting people like Bernie does, even, that could get excited behind him. It might be that they would vote for him because I keep seeing all over Facebook, vote blue no matter who, which whatever. But I don't see the excitement behind.
Okay, let me ask you this, okay? Now, I am about as left as you can get. I mean, I'm left to left to left. And yet, Bernie doesn't seem like a good idea to me, and I can't figure out why. And I think it's something about Bernie that is not genuine, that I don't believe. And he fails to make me believe in him. And I also have talked to people up in Vermont, where I go to visit during the summertime, who don't have nice things to say about him, and they're liberals.
Jeff raised his hand.
Yes. Jeff. Yes, Jeff. And then Patrick.
I think he's a problem in that his numbers don't make any sense at all. And he's done a very good job about focusing with youngsters. Any kind of kid who's got all kinds of problems with paying for their college and their insurance and all of these kind of things, he just kind of tells, I'll take care of it for you. Mm-hmm. But that's not reality at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, Patrick.
Yeah, and you said there's something that makes you think that he's not genuine. I think some of it, for somebody like me sitting on the outside, listening to a guy who calls himself a democratic socialist and saying that he is for the working people, yet he's a millionaire how many times over?
Only one.
That doesn't seem genuine to me either. So, I mean, I'm looking at him when the same thing that Jeff said. The numbers aren't adding up, and reality isn't that we're going to take care of it for you. And then I'm also looking at a guy telling everybody else that you becoming a millionaire is wrong. But he owns how many houses? And, and he's going to deride Bloomberg and, Warren's a millionaire.
But this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying about Bernie that I didn't like, and that is that Bernie, for all his saying and how wonderful and ethical he is, he's doing an anti-campaign against these people. He's berating these various other people and go after Biden and go Biden blah 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 and I don't think he's running a completely ethical campaign, even though he says he is. I think you want to talk about an ethical campaign. Elizabeth Warren is running an ethical campaign. Okay?
Hasn't told it once.
No, wait, Phil, that's in your opinion. I'm saying that she's ethical in that she has not attacked the other people. Okay? And she hasn't started her advertising doesn't contain things that say Biden's bad for the country, blah, blah, blah. I have to admit also, Bloomberg.
Alex.
Yes.
Klobuchar hasn't done that either.
I watched Bernie Sanders' latest speech, and I got to tell you, I do get a little excited by Bernie, but after he kept going on and on, I just kept thinking, oh my gosh, this is so pie in the sky. Like everything he's suggesting, we're going to get rid of the borders, the border patrols. We're going to have health care for everybody. All public schooling is going to be free. We're going to start the Green New Deal. Like, like one of these things would be a major accomplishment for one president in one term. And he's listing like, I mean, this seriously went on for like 20 items. And I kept thinking, oh my gosh, like, okay, you lost me at the third one, because there's no way.
Yeah, there's no way he's going to be. Well, the reality of him accomplishing those things is not realistic. You know, I mean, you know, even Obama, who tried, could only get some form of health care passed.
Right.
Bernie, who doesn't fit into either Republican or Democratic, but calls himself a democratic socialist, is going to find it rather hard to get any of that stuff through Congress. Yes, Jeff, and then Phil.
Okay. Well, first of all, he's not a Democrat.
Yeah.
He's never said he's a Democrat. He's never admitted to that he's not. He's not. He's just not a Democrat. That's up, you know, and that's his own. He can decide to do that. But
well, that's why I like Bloomberg, because he's a Democrat, and then he's a Republican, and then he's an independent, and then he's a Republican again, and then he's a Democrat.
But here's the most difficulty, the whole thing, is if a Democrat becomes president and the Senate is still Republican, it's going to be very difficult to make any of these changes.
Yeah, yeah. Who had his hand? Phil.
This is Bernie's last stand. He's 78. If he doesn't get it now, he's not going to run when he's 82. And so I think that he is going to go independent as soon as they steal the nomination.
No, he's not going to do that. He will not do that.
He's always caucused with the Democrats, Phil. He's always caucused with the Democrats, even though he was an independent. In fact, the two independents in Congress both caucus with the Democrats.
Yeah. But even though he caucused with the Democrats did him dirty last time, and they're going to do him dirty this time. Do you think he's going to stand around for that? This is his last shot.
See, maybe you know what Bernie.
Well, do you think if Trump doesn't get elected, he's going to leave office?
No, he's going to die.
Trump
leave office? No, he won't leave office.
No, they're going to have to pull him out, kicking and screaming.
3 more terms for Trump.
Yeah, 3 more terms. No, he's getting ready for Ivanka and Jared to run for office.
Oh my God!
I want the coronation.
I think it was, well, who was it? Was it Bill Maher that showed a picture of Ivanka and Jared and said, "Here are the latest love dolls from Japan." You know, because they looked so waxy and so made up and so stiff. You know.
Jared, I can't stand looking at that.
But Ivanka's kind of cute.
Just the name, Jabby.
Ivanka's kind of sterile looking, as far as I'm concerned.
I'll vote for her.
Yeah, I'll vote.
But then again, the reason you like her is because her father would fuck her. So that's the reason why you like her. By the way, there goes my rating for tonight on
Yeah. Wow.
No monetization for you.
No monetization for me. Well, I'm up to $2.61, and I'm trying or 31 cents.
And they take buy me lunch, Alex. How much my lunch cost today?
Hey, can they take the money back?
What?
If you curse, can they take the money back?
Maybe. Maybe. Anyway, hey, that's it.
Hand up.
Yeah. Well, we haven't got time for anything, Jeff. We've run out of time.
And it's no Phil tomorrow.
Really? Why? Photo Club.
Oh,
you know the best. You know the one thing about one thing you have to do with Photo Club. You can't tell anybody Photo Club exists. You know.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
But I don't want to belong to a club that would have me as a member.
Yeah. Well, good. Great. It'll be all clear tomorrow night. Boy, we had nobody watching tonight. And more people listening. Must be some part of the country that YouTube isn't getting to or something.
Debate tomorrow should be fun.
Hey, listen.
I can take the tour and walk around if you need it.
Yeah, please. We got Todd. Thank you, Todd. Love having you here. Always love having you.
Thank you for having me.
Phil, good having you here. Patrick, always a pleasure. Tony, wonderful to have you here. Jeff, and Ray, Renati, and of course Bree out there in Kuala Lumpur, ladies and gentlemen, in Malaysia. Everybody, what I would do is give a big wave goodbye, and then I will do the same thing back at you, okay? And then the audience will do the same thing back at you, and we'll see you all, hopefully, with the exception of Phil, tomorrow night, right here. Stay tuned now for our next program coming up, which is, of course, The Intersection with wait a minute, I've got to make this thing. How do I? Where is this? Okay. Oh well, I don't know what this is. Okay. Well, I'm trying to do something here and I can't do it. Why? What is the reason why? Well, anyway, that's it for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, there we go. That's our group for tonight. Stay tuned for Jack Bishop. He's next over most of the same station, if I can get this all together. He'll be here with another citizen panel. I'll be back again tomorrow night. Let's see here, 10 o'clock, same time, same station in life. In the meantime, if you see her, be sure to tell her I love her, okay? Bye-bye, everybody.